Cool.
You're live.
So we know how to fetch packages. We know how to maintain versions of those packages. We know when to update, when not to update, what versions to depend upon, and what versions not to depend. So we can, with that knowledge, we can just start using some components that depend on Polymer. Sorry. So we can go ahead to the Polymer element collection, and we can explore some of them. I'm just going to go ahead and check the paper elements. So the paper elements, they have like a paper checkbox, a paper dialog. Let me check this one, the paper checkbox. So with that, I get this awesome checkbox with this ripple effect and this little animation. This is a nice component. I want to put that on my page. What else? Paper progress. What is this? This is a progress bar. Different effects. That's cool. Spinner. This may be useful as well. Oh, so with this one, I get this Google Spinner. And we have a bunch of them. We have lots of elements inside of each of those collections. We can go to Iron Elements and check it out, what they have, and all that. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to use the paper checkbox. So I have some documentation over here. I have like the API, what are the properties, what are the events, and all that. And I can see what version this package is. So 1.0.3. I can go to the docs. I can do it. Let me go to the GitHub repo for this. I'm not sure if they have a link. So I'm just going to search that on Google and check this out. Paper checkbox. Okay. This is another version. Okay, so this is the paper checkbox. This is the GitHub repo for paper checkbox. I could just go ahead and copy this and clone this paper checkbox. But remember the problems that we have with just cloning this with Git. This package depends on, let's see what are this package dependencies. This package depends on paper ripple, depends on paper styles, depends on paper behaviors, and depends on Polymer. So if I just clone this repo, we're not going to get these dependencies. So let's use Bower to make our life easier. So I know the name of the package. I know who it belongs to, so I'm just going to use those two information to fetch this package.
So you would call that a component?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or an element. I guess element is probably the best name.
There's an element for that.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm just gonna go ahead, create some folder, like I don't know, blah blah blah. Power init. Okay, so now I have a bower.json file. Cool. Get all this information, and I can start installing dependencies on this. And I want to make sure that this dependency that I install, it's gonna appear in my bower.json file as well. So I'm just gonna put --save or -s uppercase.
That sticks the dependencies into your JSON file automatically.
So here I got my paper checkbox installed. And my Bower components. This is This is paper checkbox, and these are all the things that paper checkbox depends on. And I don't need to care about like getting one of them and installing and downloading a zip file or something like that. So Bower takes care of that for me. So I just got the paper checkbox.
So you don't have to use all of Polymer, you use parts of Polymer.
Exactly, yeah. And one thing to notice is that Polymer is here. Polymer is just the core library. We are using paper checkbox, which is just an element that is used in the Polymer library. So it's not that we are using parts of Polymer. We are using Polymer. We are actually using paper checkbox. What paper checkbox uses, I don't care. Oh, they are using Polymer, that's nice. But they can use Xtag, they can use... The cool thing about this web components world is that you get the element, and this element, they have their own things, and they depend on their own stuff, and you only get this. And that's what you care about. So let's try to use this guy over here. So this is all I have on my project right now. Power.json, Power Components. Yeah.
2 questions.
Mhm.
So first one is, I just have a security question to address at the end. So before we drop, we can talk about that then. And the second one is you type Bower install the component name and then dash dash save. Is that the command? Bower install the component name and then dash dash save. Okay, cool. That's it.
Dash dash save can be before the component name or after. It just has to be after the install.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
So this is what I have. This is my folder structure. I'm going to create an index.html file. Okay. So I need to import that. So I'm going to Power Components folder, paper checkbox, paper checkbox.html. So I just imported my dependency, and now I can use this element. So let me check their documentation. In order to use this element, all I can do is like, just gonna copy this, see if it works or not. Paper checkbox. I need to run this on the server, otherwise the HTML imports are not gonna work. Blah, blah, blah. And here I have it.
Wow.
And
And you can add IDs or whatever so that you can access each of the ones and put it in your form and pull
This-
the data.
yeah, like for the last couple days, we learned how to fetch elements using JavaScript. We learned how to style them. So all we learned can be applied now. And this is just an HTML element. But this is why it's so cool, right? This is just an HTML element. And I can go to the API and check what they offered to me. Oh, there's a checked attribute. Let's put this. So the default state is blank. But if I put this checked attribute, it's going to come up checked. And they have some methods like change events. They have this properties over here. So they have all this. And I can start composing like a full app just using those things here. And components from the community. I could go to customelements.io and put the voice element on my page, and I could do all that. So that's pretty powerful. Actually, let's do this. Let's get the voice elements and put it on this page. So this is just a component that was made by someone from the community, and I could go ahead and check the name of this component.
Guy always wears a green sweater.
So voice elements, I'm gonna get this name. How can I install this? Help me. Power install. the name of the owner that
GitHub owner, the whatever.
Yep. And I want to save this on my dependencies. Gonna get this. Okay, installed. Nice. So I have the dependency listed. Voice elements. I have it installed. Cool. That was pretty fast. And now I'm gonna put some code here. So I'm not sure about the API. I don't know what this guy did. So I'm going to the documentation. Okay. So this is an element called voice player, and there's an attribute called autoplay, and there's some text. So I'm just gonna try this out. So voice player, autoplay, some text. Let me change this. And is this gonna work?
No.
No, I need to import it, right? Let's import this guy. Voice elements. So this is where it's located. Voice player. Hopefully this guy wrote a good plugin, a good element, and this is gonna work. But we don't know, we're just using it. So
Fresno City College. Good morning, folks. Good morning, folks.
Cool, it's nice, it works. We can try a different thing. Let's change the accent.
You make it Lithuanian?
What?
I just learned this morning that Paul's fluent Lithuanian.
Whoa.
That or Arabic. You do Arabic, right, Eunice?
¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás?
That's cool.
¿Cómo estás, mi amigo?
And let's check it out, what they offer more than this. So they have some events, cancel, speak, pause, resume, on start, on
So
pause.
you could make your own books on tape, right? Like
Yeah.
people could just like, oh, let me read hear this text while I'm driving or whatever, and you could just read all of that.
Yeah.
That's cool. But it gets kind of, I mean, the voice reading, I mean, I'm sure you didn't program the voice reading API, so.
Yeah, behind the hood, this is just using the web speech API.
Oh, yeah.
And we can do both voice synthesis or voice recognition. Speech, like speech to text, which is voice recognition, or speech synthesis, which is text to speech. The one we did was text to speech, right? So we were putting some text and it's outputting some voice. But we can do the opposite way. We speech and some text is outputted. Let's try this out. Hello, Fresno City College. Fresno City College. Oh, it's not detecting.
Welcome to the jungle. Ha ha ha, just kidding. Welcome to the voice elements demonstration page.
This was the text that was made. Hello, Fresno City College. Come on. Yeah, it's It's not working. This guy didn't
I
implement it properly.
predict a late evening in your future. What? Okay, I gotta go figure this out.
Cool. So that's nice, right? We can, like, imagine there's this whole community building elements, and you can just put in your page, and boom, it works really, like, really nicely. You don't need to do so much stuff. Just put an element on your page, and it works. So I have a challenge for you. Let's check it out, the iron elements. So they have all those things, and they have this iron collapse over here. So what it does is just this collapse effect. Okay? Let me check it out, the docs, and see how can I enable this. So here's the API. I'm not going to tell you how this works. I want you to dig into this, explore, and try to use this library. And try to use this element. And the final result I want is this. I want to improve that frequently asked questions page. So remember we had, where was that? Web components, HTML imports, we're doing this, yep. So we generated this whole list dynamically, right, based on our titles. But there's a lot of content on this page, you know, I need to scroll down a lot. What if I just like click on this and it collapses? Much better, right? Much better user experience. So let's try to do this. And I want something like this. Doesn't need to be exactly like this. So I have all my links. And once I click on that, cool. So try to use iron collapse to accomplish this, something like this. Okay?
Todd, you had a security question you wanted to throw before we drop?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, does the encapsulation web components prevent things like, you know, like a Trojan horse? Like, I think I'm getting a checkbox, but really, behind the scenes, the code in this web component also does all these other malicious things.
So, the only malicious things that those packages can do is mess it up with your something with JavaScript.
Yeah.
And they are not. There's nothing that you can put as a server-side code on this.
Yeah.
So you can't really like remove your database or do things like this. And Bower is just for like JavaScript and HTML and CSS. If you think about NPM, it's actually server-side code. You're getting like node stuff and you're running on your servers. But there's no way that somebody can like imagine your technology stack and know how to connect your database just by installing a package. So it's really like it's not harmful at all to use any of those things. Otherwise, there not be like this amount of packages and downloads per day and weeks and on NPM or on Bower. So there's no problem. You can like go ahead. The only thing it's gonna do is install things to your computer, which you can just delete. But it's just like JavaScript files.
Yeah.
And HTML files.
All right. Thanks for your.
Cool.